Hello everyone and welcome to the game I played on PTCGO. This match will be the first of 3 matches against sameo15TheDragonTamer, another YouTuber. The link to his channel is in the description and he will be posting the mirror or his perspective of these matches as well. So this is the best of 3 format, as I mentioned, and he's playing a Dialga deck, Dialga Bronzong, and I'm playing Seismitoad, Yveltal, Garbodor. As you'll see, I start off with a double Seismitoad EX. My opponent did mulligan, so I get to draw an extra card. He's going to lead off with Dialga EX, attach a DCE onto it, and also play an Ultra Ball, probably for a Bronzor. Yes, we see exactly that. Hit the bench. So ideally, my strategy will be to set up a Garbodor as soon as possible. His deck really struggles without abilities, but my damage output is limited early on in the game, since my only big attacker here is Yveltal, and I only run 2 of them. So I did play an Enhanced Hammer and then played an Escape Rope, forcing him to switch into Bronzong. I will play a Muscle Band onto my active Seismitoad, and I have no supporters to play. So I'm still working the tweaks off. The tweaks with this deck to try to see what exact cards should be in here. I don't think I've hit it just right, unfortunately. So my opponent is going to evolve into Bronzong and play an N, thankfully getting me some energy. And he will play Metal Links, the ability that allows him to take metal energy from the discard and attach it to one of his bench Pokemon. And he plays a switch, putting Bronzong back at the active, this time with 2 metal energies. For my turn, I attach a DCE and hit with Quaking Punch for 50 thanks to Muscle Band. My opponent is going to play Sycamore on his turn, discarding quite a few useful cards. He plays a Keldeo on the bench, which will allow him to retreat any of his metal Pokemon to the bench so he can power them up with Metal Links, since it's sort of like Electric's old ability, Dynamotor, which only works to bench Pokemon. So he's unable to attack, he just passes his turn. He was tempted to put down a Heatmore, it looked like, but he decided to take it back. I put down a Veerbank, and I'm going to hit for 50 again with Quaking Punch, preventing him from using tools, but still no Garbodor in sight, or at least no Trubbish. My opponent now gets a DCE onto his active, and he's going to use Chrono Wind. While this only does 60, it does prevent any EXs from attacking, at least if the EX was the opposing Pokemon. So if I switch out, I can negate that effect. So I can only attack for effect now. My opponent, now going into his turn, is going to put a Floatstone onto Keldeo, attach a DCE onto Dialga, use a Repeat Ball to bring up maybe another Dialga. I don't know if he can bring out another Bronzor since that's been evolved, and it looks like Dialga it is. Now he can actually use Dialga's second attack, but first we're going to see a retreat, rush in with Keldeo. He's going to attach to Dialga. With its second attack, it actually has to discard, I believe, 2 metal energies in order to use it. That's why there's quite a bit of synergy with Keldeo and Bronzong here. The question is whether he'll choose to use that attack this turn or not. So he's going to Sycamore here, bump out my Veerbank City Gym for a Steel Shelter, which prevents all metal Pokemon from getting any status conditions inflicted upon them. And he's going to use Battle Compressor to get more metal energy into the discard pile. And following that, he uses another Battle Compressor, this time just getting rid of some Ultra Balls, it looks like. So he's going to use a Full Metal Impact for 150, discarding those 2 energies and sending Seismitoad into the discard pile. So I have another Seismitoad that's powered up to respond with, and here I'm going to use Teammates. Ideally, I would have liked to go for a Laser as one of my draws here, but unfortunately Steel Shelter is in play, and I don't want to go for Laser Veerbank because I also want Trubbish. So I'm actually going for Trubbish and something else, and I'm debating what that something else should be. A not a bad option would be here a Starling Megaphone, since I could remove that floatstone off of Keldeo and prevent him, or at least slow him down from his energy acceleration. So we'll put down Trubbish, and I do get the Megaphone, blow off that floatstone, and just hit with Quaking Punch for 30. So this is where this deck really falls apart. I don't have Garbodor up yet, and I don't have an Yveltal powered up in sight. So quite unfortunate start to the game, but Dialga has taken heavy damage and is only 50 away from the knockout, so if I can get a Muscle Band, I can knock it out on my next turn. But here my opponent is going to use Metal Lynx and actually Lysander up my Trubbish, use Full Metal Impact, and knock it out, so that's quite unfortunate. And now I am very limited in options. I can attach onto my bench Seismitoad. I don't get the Muscle Band, so I'll have to use Quaking Punch again. And I just have to hope my opponent doesn't have a Switch or a Floatstone, because right now he's going to be able to attach onto his active Dialga manually and use Metal Lynx to power up the bench ones. So once he uses Chrono Wind, I won't be able to attack at all, so I'm pretty much stuck. And now he brings down an Aegislash EX to top it off, which has the ability that prevents anything with a special energy, I believe, from attacking it. So quite a nuisance here that I wasn't able to turn off abilities at this point in the game. I have a Floatstone, but nothing really to do, so I pretty much conceded the game. I could have attacked with Quaking Punch, but I really chose not to. I think at this point I've essentially lost. I don't have a supporter in sight. Looks like my opponent is going to use a VS Seeker here. He might be low on supporters, so he looks like he'll get a Sycamore here. Gonna discard his hand away. So he is running lower on cards now, only 7 remaining in his deck. Meanwhile, I've been dead drawing most of this game, unfortunately. And we see a Dowsing Machine come out, so I'm not sure what that'll go for. And it's actually for the Floatstone. So here he can brush in and retreat, and we see another VS Seeker get played. So this is going to go for a Chorus, which he can play next turn if he wants to. And we'll see a rush in from Keldeo. He'll use Metal Lynx here to power up Dialga. And I could have prevented him from using that Floatstone his last turn, but again, I don't think I stood a chance with this game at all. So he's just going to take 2 more prizes, and I'm once again drawing dead here. So I get an Ultra Ball. I can use that. My only chance here is really to get up a Garbodor, so I will Ultra Ball for a Trubbish and get one out. Put that down on the bench and hope I can evolve it and just end my turn, since Quaking Punch is not a great strategy against my opponent right now. So he can attach 1 more to the active. That was not enough for the knockout, but he will be able to rush in and power anything up. We see a VS Seeker for a Lysander, and that'll be enough to get him the win. So with that, he can Lysander up a Trubbish and take the win. So I hope you guys enjoyed this match. I know it's quite a lopsided one at that, but stay tuned for round 2, which will be uploaded sometime later this week. Bye.